your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game tape.
Donuts.
If you wanna battle, it's either that you will or you won't.
You know, you're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
Hey, man!
More stories. Mick Betancourt. That's
came in hot.
Great. I came in hot. Mick Betancourt came in hot with Mick Betancourt. I don't know why I'm doing a bad Boston accent. You're a Chicago guy.
Chicago guy, man.
Hashtag muscle hustle for Mick Betancourt all day, every day.
How crazy was it, man? I woke up and there were 36 things in the Twitter, and I hadn't put anything out the night before that would warrant such a response. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I'm blown away by the podcast. We're like no barrier to the fans, and they're like reaching out to you. Like, dude, have this cat on your show.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing, man. I couldn't even imagine this when we were kids, being like, I'll tweet at some dude on TV or a sports star, and maybe, you had to write a letter to a clubhouse, and maybe you got a baseball card back. Like,
did you? Yeah, fans were like, "Why don't you get Mick Betancourt on your podcast?" So I said, "Do you want to do my podcast?" And you said, "Sure." And we've had really great. Dean Del Rey, same way. Never met the guy. People said you should have Dean Del Rey on your podcast. Boom, he's been on twice. He's on the radio show all the time, and now it's Mick Betancourt from Chicago.
And no barrier with a little Boston seasoning.
I could do Chicago, but it's awful. I'll have to gear up for it. You did you write teams when you were a kid for autographs?
Oh yeah, and I put the baseball card in there and never realizing that the card was never going to come back. I had a Wade Boggs rookie card at Donruss Wade Boggs that was probably the most expensive thing that I owned, and we were shit poor. But that bushy fucking mustache, man, at the hot corner, I had to have it.
He was the chicken man.
Sent it off.
Had fried chicken before every game. Did you know that?
Did he? I knew he had a seat for his wife, and then 3 rows up was for his mistress.
Yeah.
And it was like a known thing, and I'm like, that's a bold fucking move.
I sent my my Santa Claus rookie card, never got it back either.
Yeah, Santa Claus does not return fan mail. It goes to the dead letter office. The thing about writing, first of all, I like that you wrote and sent the card to Wade Boggs, one of the most notorious dicks. I mean, there's no other way to put it. You meet Don Mattingly and Joe Torre, these are good guys, like Bernie Williams class. You're a Chicago guy. So Ryan Sandberg, just a good dude. These are good people. Wade Boggs, give me my chicken, where's my beer? I got a flight attendant, I got to grab her ass. I'm the chicken man, I'm Wade Boggs. What is this kid? He kissed home plate on his 3,000th hit as a Devil Ray. Just go out as a Red Sox. They should have just hired him just to get the 3,000th hit. I wrote letters to teams. When you, again, was going what Mick just said, at Mick Betancourt, Betan Court, Betancourt on Twitter. I wrote, when we were kids, in 4th, 5th grade in the library, you'd get the almanac, the World Almanac out, and at the back, it had the address to all the teams of every sport. And we would just sit there the entire time and write letters. And the only team that ever sent me anything back, Chicago Bears, your squad.
No shit.
It was Kramer. Was that a guy?
When were you writing that mid-'80s? That was in the hot
a couple
spot,
months
too.
ago. I'm a little embarrassed about it.
It was last week. Cutler sends you a little card signed with a little squirt of Halston perfume on it to keep it classy.
Don't front on Halston. Ted Danson was the original Halston man. Did you know that?
No, what the fuck? You're like an almanac of these facts. You dropped 100 already. We only been talking for 3 minutes.
It's fun.
Dude, it's insane.
But yeah, they wrote me back, but what was weird was assistant coaches sent their little photos, so for the team.
Oh, a little press, the 8x10s,
the team book, yeah, and they signed it. I'm but I kept it on a shelf. Wow, these guys. Bob Greasy wrote me back, quarterback of the Dolphins. Dear JJ, always be a good sport. Bob Greasy.
Oh wow, that's classy.
It was classy. He stayed classy, San Diego. Mick Betancourt, I asked him if he had anything he wanted to plug, and he goes,
"Just a podcast.
Just come see me wherever I do stand up. You'll tweet it if you're doing shows.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Mick Betancourt or The website's in progress right now, mickbetancourt.com. I just hired a web guy to do
This
that.
won't be out for like a month. Seriously, this won't be out for like a month.
Oh, it'll be up
I'm
by
going to
then,
New
yeah.
York, so I'm front loading all the
nice.
podcasts.
Yeah,
so if
so it'll
anybody
be
wants
up
to
by
see
then.
me May 1st, May 2nd, May 3rd at the American Comedy Company in San Diego, come on down. July 18th, Cincinnati, Taft Theater. Do it. Buy the tickets. All my tickets and T-shirts and info at jmohr.com. Mick Betancourt, you grew up poorer than I could ever imagine. I was like middle class.
You wrestled though, man. What weight did you wrestle at?
105 as a freshman.
Okay.
And then 129, and then 129 again, and then 135 as a senior.
How fucking great is that sport, man?
I wish I could do it all over again so badly, because all those push-ups you don't do, because the coach turns his head, and you just lay with your tummy on the mat going, down, down, and you're just resting. I'm like, if I could have all those push-ups back, I wouldn't have lost 3-1. I would have had like that little extra something in the tank.
Nothing is stung to this day, and we'll probably talk about how fucking insane my childhood was. Nothing compared to how I felt when I knew I gave up wrestling. You know, like when I was wrestling somebody and the tank was empty and the coach was so excited and they're screaming and all you got to do is switch, or you just, you know, you need one escape, and my tank was empty because I did that. Because I shorted myself in practice and preparation. Just to this day, I could tell you every time I lost and why. Like it's like a photographic memory of.
I got way too many losses to single them out. But I do remember I wrestled a kid in Boonton, New Jersey that was just kicking the shit out of me. He would take me down and let me up, take me down, but he was just like a savant at single and double leg takedowns. I just could not get taken down by this guy. And then he gets me in a cradle, but the idiot had his hand, for some reason, something was under my left scapula, like my back, so he couldn't pin me. And we were down there for like a minute, but I was choking to death because he had his whole body across my neck. So I actually wiggled over to my right to pin myself. I'm like, this is crazy. And it was already like 18-5 was like the score, with like a minute and a half left. And I'm like, you know what? I'm out of here.
I'll close this one for you.
I'm out of here. And the kid never said like, hey, thanks for the assist, bro.
There were these two brothers that went to Mount Carmel called the Williams brothers. They were undefeated in grade school and undefeated in high school. And I had to wrestle this guy senior year to go to, I think, sectionals, in sectionals to go to state. And he chewed gum. He fucking chewed gum while he wrestled. And I said to the ref, and I go, he's got gum in his mouth. And he goes, it's Joe Williams. Like the ref couldn't believe he got to ref a Joe Williams match. And it was like Jordan coming out onto the mat. I mean, he was like a draw.
Who also chewed gum, yeah.
Yeah. And he just snapping the gum. It was such a mind fuck. And then I'm like, everyone's like, you're going to go up against Williams. And I'm like, I'm going to like shoot in Vision Quest. I'm like, I'm going to fuck Williams up. My game plan went right out of the window when he looked like a tired, jaded secretary snapping his gum at me, just like.
Did you fill out the blue form? Fill out the blue form. Get back in line. Next, please.
One giant fucking muscle snapping his gum. I shot a double on him, got caught, popped back up, and he looked at me and he shook his finger like with his eyes. Like, really? That's what you
metaphysically finger wagged. The Dikembe Mutombo. No.
He went right in and just fucking shut me down with a look. And then I just got played with like a cat with a little fuzzy fucking.
How long did you go over a minute?
Second period. Just
that's impressive.
I think he got
the
bored.
way you were hyping Joe Williams.
The gum, I think, lost flavor. It might have been fruit stripe. So it lost a little flavor, and I think it was new peacetime, and he just went right back in and just waved to the fans. Just fucking went back. It was fucking degrading, man. Holy
was it
shit.
at his school or your school?
No, it was like, when you're going to regionals or sectionals.
Like a tournament.
It's a tourney school, so.
It's amazing the weird people you wrestle the greatest sport. It's the greatest sport in the world. As far as
I couldn't agree more.
If kids get into wrestling, and people ask me on Twitter, if you weren't an actor or a comic, what would you do? Coach wrestling. Because I could make champions. And you could too. Because all the things you left out there on the mat.
Yeah.
I would pull kids like on a Tuesday, I would just pick like one kid and say, come with me. And we would just go to another part of the gym and I would just make them vomit.
Yeah.
Just break them.
I just cut 26 pounds. Maybe I was 220 and I'm like, I can't fucking live like this anymore. I know how to cut weight. I might not necessarily know how to cut it healthy, but I just started watching what I'm eating. And then I went in, I'll be 40 on April 14th. I'm just like, fuck it, I'm going to go for it. I only have a little window, maybe 10 more years if I'm lucky, of really being able to hit it hard, So I started doing this boot camp and I started boxing. And then if I can, I'll do like just adult wrestling because there's camps now that you can go to and just grapple. Like you sign up almost like you do smoker fights.
Gay bars.
Well, I don't want to, a couple guys in.
Are there really places to wrestle? Because I've been looking for them my whole life.
Yeah. There's clubs out here. If you type in Greco-Roman Wrestling California, there'll be a whole list of clubs because it's weird. There's not a lot of grade schools out here because I want to get my son involved in it. There's nothing, but there's independent clubs. Like I didn't wrestle for a grade school team. I wrestled for a grade school club. And I had no fucking parents. Like I lived on my own. I lived with my grandfather and then he died and no one claimed me.
Well, let's elaborate on that.
I lived in this apartment. My mom lived downstairs.
How old were you?
13.
Straight balling. I got my grandfather's pad. You want to come over? We'll ride Huffies.
Here's the weird thing about that. So my parents were 16, 17 when I was born. My dad's Puerto Rican. My mom's Irish. My mom didn't want shit to do with me, so my dad raises me. I thought I was black till I was 7 because I didn't speak Puerto Rican. I came out looking white as a nun's ass. I'm in a neighborhood called Humboldt Park in Chicago, all Puerto Rican. We shared a house with a black family. So I just hung out with those kids. It was Tyrone, Dude, and Bebe.
Dude?
The kid's name was Dude. So we just hung out. And I just thought, like, if you were to ask me a question, they're like, hey, go do the dishes, I'd be like, ain't. And that's just how I talked. Dad dies at 22. My dad dies at 22. My Irish uncle comes, kidnaps me out of the ghetto, moves me in with my mom, who's got a very strict beat the black out of me program. Like anytime any fucking
she
black.
She did a good job because you're really white.
Fucking cracked the shit out of me.
There's no black on you anymore.
Nothing.
She did it.
No. Sometimes if I bump a little Rick Ross in the Prius, you might see it a little bit. I let the dogs out.
You are a Baja man. So you're okay. When you're 13, all right, so you got a mom and dad. Your dad's Irish, your mom's Puerto Rican.
My dad was Puerto Rican.
Your dad's Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Your mom's Irish.
Yeah.
Your mom doesn't want anything to do with you,
Not really.
like in the same house, or she moves away?
No, she's gone, man. I don't even know her. So when my dad dies, my uncle comes and gets me, and he's like, "Yeah, listen, we're gonna." He says at the wake, "Don't go to bed. Just stay up because I'm gonna knock on the door just before the sun comes up." And I live with I'll tell you one story, man. So I slept beneath my father, on a little throw rug. He slept on a sofa in the living room. We were poor, man. You know what I mean? Like he just worked shit fucking jobs at factories, whatever work he could get, working on motorcycles. One time he got a gig driving around disabled seniors, and I was going to preschool, and I was a fucking lunatic, man, like just off the fucking charts troublemaker. So every day he'd have to go in and hear all of the shit that I did, and he'd come out and he'd hit me. So I'm like, what the fuck am I waiting here for? I know it's coming, and I know that lever sticking out of the side of the steering wheel does some shit. So I jumped in the driver's side and I just start yanking on the lever. He left the van running, and I just start going in like fucking bumper cars. I took out a whole fucking block of cars, went through an intersection, 2 accidents, loses that job. So I'm sleeping on the floor.
Oh, it was his work truck.
It was his work truck. He wasn't even supposed to be using it for personal reasons. He's schlepping me around there like, dude.
Did you get pulled over by the cops?
I went up on the curb and hit I was just coasting. My feet couldn't hit the pedal. So I just fucking went in up on the thing, hit the lamppost. So it was insane, man. And my aunt, my dad's sister, was a junkie. So she comes in one night at 2 a.m. I'm on the floor. My dad's on the sofa, and I hear this loud thump. And so I run into the bathroom, and she's naked. She fell off the toilet into the bathtub. She was shooting up. She got a hot shot. And so I was just fucking stunned at what I was seeing, And then my dad grabs me by the back of my neck and he pulls me out as my grandma runs in, and she's like, the devil is in this house right now, and we're all going to wake up with black eyes. Now go to bed. And I'm like, fucking go to bed? The devil's in the house. Like, what do you?
Yeah, I thought she was going to take. Well, why did your aunt get naked to shoot heroin?
Who knows, man? Who knows what's in the mind of a junkie? Sure. But she tipped over. She got a hot shot. That's what my grandma said. The
devil's in this house. We're all going to wake up with black eyes.
Yeah, it was some weird Santeria horseshit, man. And
go to bed.
Anyway, I went to sleep. My dad threw cold water on her, got her to come to, threw a towel over, threw her in her bed. He goes back. He lays down on the sofa. So next morning I wake up, taking the morning piss. I see the tub. I remember everything. I close the lid on the toilet. I climb up. I lean over the sink. I got a fucking purple, gold, black eye. Lose my shit. scream, run over, pull the covers off my dad, black eye, run into my grandma's room, black eye, Nanette, black eye. That shit happened, man. So when I was 6 at the time, and I'm like, the devil's real, and he comes into your house and punches the shit out of you. Like that was straight up ghetto shit that happened. So when my dad died and my uncle's like, we're going to get you out of here, I'm like, thank fucking God, man.
Put a pin in it. Don't lose your place. So Mick Betancourt, your grandmother called her shot that the devil's in the house. We're all going to wake up with black eyes. No shit. You woke up with a black eye. You checked on your dad. Everybody had black eyes.
Everybody had a black eye.
How?
I have no idea. I don't know. It's like, I know it's not a weird fantasy thing that I made up as a kid. I know that. I saw it. I looked at myself in the mirror. Was
your grandmother a super religious lady that was into that? Like,
yeah, super religious. So was my other grandma too. I mean, she was like, it was weird. Sometimes I'd stay with her on the weekends. And she was the Irish side church every Sunday, Ascension Church in Oak Park. And Oak Park's like a little village right on the border of Chicago. And it was super, super religious. And there was some crazy shit going on Monday through Friday. And she'd be like, this is the way out. You pray to this guy. Jesus died. And I'm like, where's this guy Monday through Friday? Like it's nice and calm here on the weekends. But like,
what?
I'm like, what's this guy's deal? Yeah.
He's helping other people.
She'd be like, what are they doing there? And I'm like, well, sometimes dad has a party and they pour flour on a mirror and then everyone fights to see who can put their face in it. And she'd be like baking cookies and she'd be like, what? And she'd be putting the flour in her mouth, like, no sugar, nothing. They just put their face. I'm like, yeah, there's a big mirror on the dining room table. It was insane, man.
But she didn't have the wherewithal to know that it was cocaine.
Listen, man, her ex-husband, my grandfather, his alcoholism just was like the Enola Gay. It just blew up that whole side of the family. And then he eventually got sober. Side. Yeah. Just fucking crushed him, man. Crushed him. Yeah. And so she was just like this shell, like church, work, lean cuisine, smoke a Carlton, maybe a little Agatha Christie and a Vitabath. Let's keep shit simple. Like that was fucking dude.
I admire her for it.
That was it. But she, like, her son, my uncle, got murdered right before my dad died.
Hold on. I think you're speeding through this. These are like crazy ass stories.
Yeah,
Take your time with it. We're going to be here an hour.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I've been grinding all day. Yeah, man, it was just crazy.
Flexing your hustle muscle?
I'll flex it a little bit.
Hashtag hustle muscle.
Probably the right side a little bit because I get the vein. I haven't gotten the vein back in the left one yet.
So everybody wakes up with black eyes because your house is haunted by the devil. Do you think that's what drew your words junkie aunt to the house because the devil was there and that's a good place to shoot up?
With the devil. The devil's really not going to judge you. He's going to be more supportive of a heroin habit, I think. He's not going to throw stones. He's not going to point out.
She came back to life,
That might have been baby Jesus high-fiving middle-aged Jesus.
Like big baby Jesus, you're talking about old dirty bastard.
Old dirty bastard. We were just talking about him. Throwing his transit card like a Chinese star.
Yeah. So, okay. So you're because there's a lot of variables, a lot of people involved. There's a huge cast of characters.
Yeah.
Puerto Rican father.
I'm writing this book right now. I'm writing all of it. It's called Before I Forget. And that's what I was writing down the street at the Starbucks by your house in Pleasantville. Yeah. I never thought I'd be here, man. That's the gist of that. And like now that I'm on the other side of this,
here in the Palisades?
Just be alive, man.
Alive.
I've been sober 12 years because my dad died at 22. On my 23rd birthday, I had outlived my dad, and it just fucked with me. And I was running it till the wheels came off. And I haven't been around people getting murdered and dying. And, when my uncle came and got me after my dad died, moved me over to the Irish side. My grandfather was...
Oh, hold on. So your uncle at a wake for your...
Dad.
Yeah. Says, hey, don't go to sleep tonight. Because I'm going to knock on your window. I'm going to get you out of here.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Are you in bed that night?
I'm on the sofa where my dad used to sleep. So I'm in the living room, which is the closest to the door. And,
are you nervous or you're like, I can't wait?
No, I'm nervous. To be honest with you, I didn't really know any place other than that. We had moved and lived in Peoria for a year, but that was a fucking nightmare. So we couldn't really find work. He was just chasing work. So he couldn't really find any work in Peoria.
All right. So your uncle knocks on the window.
Yeah.
And what happens?
I answer the door and he's like, you got to go. We're going. And all right. So Nanette,
and where did you go? I'm going to go super in order here because this is too much to process quickly.
Nanette was a junkie. My other aunt, Nancy, was straight and narrow, trying to go to nursing school. Super nice lady. So she must have got woken up by him knocking. And so he just grabbed me. He's walking me to the car, and she comes out and she's like, what's going on? And he's like, we're going. And she's like, you're going? And he's like, yeah, we're going. And I'm like, I think the weight of what was going to happen, I'm in between these two people. I'm looking at my house. The only place I've really known is a home. And I'm like, where are we going? And he's like, we're going to go see your mom. We're going to go see your mom. So I'm like, all right.
But your mom had beaten the shit out of you up until this point.
No, I didn't really know.
Or this when the beating started?
I didn't know my mom yet. Well,
okay.
Here's what happened. So she says, Nancy goes, I'm never going to see him again, am I? And he's like, nope. And that's when the fucking waterworks started for me. I'm like, what? I'm leaving. When am I coming back? He's like, get in the car. And she just went back in the house. So she knew how fucked up the house was. She just walked back in. She didn't hug me. She didn't say goodbye or I'll come see you. She literally just turned and like cut it right there.
Aunt Nancy.
So I'm in the car with my uncle and I'm bawling and he's like, look, we're going to this neighborhood called Berwyn. It's going to be nice. There's a YMCA there. There's kids. There's a pool. There's basketball. Your ma's there. She's okay. You're going to like her. And so finally he calms me down to where I'm stopping crying. We pull up to this little red brick 2-flat on 25th and Clarence. And, we walk in, door opens. There's my mom, like 4'0", 1 freckle, pugnacious Irish woman, flaming red hair. And I'm looking at her, man. It's like an old Western standoff, She's looking at me like, fuck, who's this guy, And I'm looking at her like, this is my mom. Just nervous, man, So
it's not like maternal instinct, like,
no.
baby.
No. I get nervous. I pop the fridge open. There was a quart of milk in there. So I popped the milk open and I just start guzzling it and it was curdled and sour. So I just spit it on the floor. And by the time I looked up, she'd already cocked her right back and just threw in a heater and hit me right on the button and dropped me. And I look up at my uncle and he's like, good luck. And he just fucking leaves. And I'm like, where's the kids in the pool and the Y and the things with the basketball and the fun things? It was insane.
And how long did you live with the Irish hammer known as your mom?
Well, it was weird. I lived with her.
How long did you and Ricky Hatton shack up?
What was Ricky's punch was the left body shot, man.
It was.
Brutal, man.
I think Ricky's punch was the shot glass.
Yeah, until Pacquiao fucking filled him up with NyQuil and put him to sleep for about 10 minutes. That
Ricky
was a
liked his
crazy
juice.
fight. Did he?
Oh, yeah. He's a friend of ours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Coming out to that Manchester United song, though, was so incredible, and just watching him wreck guys with body blows was so insane. You just didn't see guys going down from body shots like that,
Yeah. Hopkins dropped De La Hoya with a body shot. That was amazing. And Forrest Griffin was here, and he goes, you ever been knocked out with a kidney shot? I'm like, no. A liver shot? I go, no. He goes, you want to try it? I'm like, yeah. I go, do I have to flex or anything? He goes, oh, it doesn't matter. Pat! It's on the YouTube channel.
What?
I don't even know what it's called. You can just Google search Jay Mohr Forrest Griffin and watch me get. And right there, I take a name. I'm red as a brick.
Did you piss blood or anything when you were?
No, I go, what's wrong with you? He goes, what's wrong with you? You just let me hit you in the liver. And then you let me do it to him. And he took like 2 steps back. And I'm like, that's the greatest victory of my life. But I had to draw with a pen where his liver is because I had no idea. I go, can I do it with my right hand? He goes, yeah, I only have one liver, bro. So I did it. I hit him right over there. And then, and he choked me out, but I was like, I wanted to last longer. Maybe that's wrestling. I'm like, I think I can last a little longer before I tap. And he goes, that's nice, right? You just like go to sleep. It's nice. And that night I felt like I had Vicks Vapor Rub on all of my organs. I felt alive. It's like the first time you get in a fight and it's never as bad as you think it is.
Yeah.
And when it's over, you're like, let's fight again.
Yeah.
Like
I
feared this for years.
Yeah.
And then here I am just sitting in my house watching Sanford and Son like, oh, I feel fine.
When someone's like, meet me in the alley after school at 3. And you're like, God damn it, this is going to happen. And you're just fucking.
I would always go to the bathroom 10 minutes before school ended and walk home. I'd duck it for like months.
Yeah?
I was a complete pussy. I didn't want to fight.
I got jumped so many fucking shellacked. It was this kid, Jason Banis, caught me with a right hook walking down the street. I didn't even see it coming, just fucking clipped me down.
White kid.
Yeah.
So you're in an all black neighborhood in a black house.
No, I was in a Puerto Rican neighborhood in a black house, and Puerto Ricans and blacks hated each other. They do a little bit, but not so much.
And Puerto Ricans and Cubans hate each other too.
I know. And Dominicans and Cubans and Puerto Ricans all hate each other.
Yeah. Everybody loves comics.
If it's one thing we can agree on.
Mick Betancourt.
There it is. The best dog ever.
Mabel.
So I'm with my mom, and my grandfather lives upstairs, her dad. And he doesn't really like me too much at this point because
why
I'm
don't people like
Rican.
you at this age? What is it about you?
I think it was I think I was a burden to be honest with you, like it was an unexpected pregnancy, obviously, and my other uncle had been killed 2 years prior, so everyone was still trying to get over that. And
because you would think with the uncle dying and the dad dying, it's like, well, thank God, little Mickey's here.
No, that's how rich people think. That's how rich people think.
No, that makes Springsteen. Like when this guy dies and the baby comes in, it's a circle of life. Let's drop him.
My mom used to sit me down and put all of the bills out and go, motherfucker, this is what you're costing me. She
said, motherfucker.
Yeah, motherfucker, this is. And then she would get drunk, and she'd go, listen, you're adopted. We never told you. I'm bringing you back to the fucking house where I got you from. And so she's like, pack a bag. You're going right now. So I just get my shit. I put it in a bag. She'd be drunk driving down the street, and she'd be like, I think that's it. Go ask them if they'll take you back. And I'd get out of the car, and she'd just fucking take off. I'd knock on the door twice. Thank God no one was home. I look back now. It's pretty fucked up.
And how did you get back to her house?
I sat on the steps. 20 minutes later, car pulls up. You can fucking behave? I guess.
Were you like incredibly misbehaving around your mom, or
no? I mean, I was. Or
was she just like a bad person?
It was a little both. I mean, I had discipline issues, I think, as a kid, but it wasn't like I was a fucking lunatic. Just I stabbed a kid my first day of first grade, but
all right, that's lunatic-y.
He grabbed one of my pencils, Jay. I had two very nice number 2 pencils, both sharp, very
and
excited.
When you're that poor.
Little plastic, lined up right next to it. New school. They frowned upon my blackness. A lot of racism. I was a proud young black child at that time in my life. They sensed my dialect. They did not like it.
Are you playing me, B?
And so this kid Melbanus grabbed one of my pencils, and I instinctively just grabbed it and fucking stabbed him, and it was sticking out of his hand. And he screamed, and the nun went bonkers. Drags me into the principal's office, Mrs. Carbonara. God bless her now. She's fucking saint, this lady, dealing with my shit. Calls my mom. Mom shows up stumbling in drunk. She's like, what did he do? He stabbed another student. And my mom's like, that's it. You're coming home. And the Miss Carbonara goes, no. He stays. We're going to fix this motherfucker. 2 motherfuckers. And I remember sitting there going,
a nun said
holy
that?
shit. No, she wasn't a nun, but it was a Catholic school.
Oh, okay.
The name of the school is called St. Odillo's. St. Odillo is the patron saint of purgatory.
Really?
It's the patron saint of being average.
That's amazing, but perfect for you. I mean, think about
that was a hug and a slap all in one time.
Think about the poetry in that. Like, here's a kid that can't find a home, and the mother says he's adopted when she's drunk, and you actually go to a school that's the patron saint of purgatory.
I know.
You lived purgatory, and you went to school.
It's crazy.
The patron. Odillo. What's his name?
Saint Odillo.
Odillo.
Yeah, Odilo.
I wrestled with a kid going back because we're talking about. You remember every name, and I love that about storytelling, and it's great. And we're coming right back to this because this shit is amazing. And we still got to know about you living alone in your grandfather's house. We wrestled. There was a kid, Mike Ardilla, that lived in my town. And like 4th grade, he climbed to the top of the school to get, you go to the top of the school, like a 2-story school or 1-story school. You just get all the tennis balls out of the gutter and everybody plays with them.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just his turn. Everybody climbs up the water pipe and he falls off the school. And he's a little shimanood after that. He's a little ugats. So he was always off and he wrestled, and we would run stairs up and down. The stairs to the wrestling room were only like 2-person wide. Me and you'd be shoulder to shoulder as men going up and down these stairs. And it was like it was hot. It was a lot.
Up in a tower, right?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And you go piggyback and you'd run stairs. And we only had Van Halen 1, in the Running with the Devil is on it. So we knew this guy was nuts. Like, he didn't really do anything but something was off.
You light him on fire and throw him down the stairs.
No, other way around. Like, you worried about when he was going to come get you. Like, Ardilla's coming.
Shit, he's like
so
Kaiser Soze.
We would run, but he fell off the school and it made his brain switch to evil.
No logic.
No. And we would run stairs, piggyback with a guy in your back, and Running with the Devil would come on. We only had that one cassette, and instead of Devil, we'd go Running with Ardilla.
And he's running with you guys?
Yes, but here's the fun game that you'll enjoy. If you were next to him, passing him on the stairs when that came on, he punched you in the face. So like, you would plan it, I found the simple life, and you're like, all right, I got plenty of time. So like, I'm fine. So I'm going to pass him. And then like, you'd be coming like down the stairs. He'd be coming up and you would just hear like, dun, dun, and you go, oh shit. And you would start running super fast down, start knocking people up. But everybody knew the game. So everyone's like going, ah! And the guys behind you are slowing way the fuck down. So there's traffic jam going, run it. And you had to say, Ardilla, boom. He would just give you a right cross, or if he's coming down the stairs, a left cross, and he just punch you in the face. I graduated high school. A year after high school, the guy stabbed somebody to death at a party in like Livingston, New Jersey, takes his girlfriend, he thought it was his girlfriend. It was the other guy's girlfriend. And they shoot his tires out in New Mexico. So from New Jersey to New Mexico, life in prison. We were right.
Holy shit.
He's the devil. And he's doing life in prison. And his dad, poor, I'm not going to say the guy's name because he's probably still active in Verona, New Jersey. His dad was a cop.
No.
And it was horrible, yeah. And he was a real good dude, too. And his kid was just nuts.
From one thing that happens in 4th grade. You know, that's a crazy thing, man, when you look back and you think of all of the fucking nonsense. Like, I'm glad that I've never been happier in my life. The wisdom that comes with making it through the shit. Getting a little older, and you go, how many times, man, did I just put myself in death's crosshairs for no fucking reason?
You were like Job, though, as a kid. You know, they say God doesn't give you more than you can handle, and I think God trusted you a little too much. Grandfather, you move in. Why do you go from your mom's? Oh, because your grandfather lived above.
She'd take me out drinking with her. I would go.
All right, so far the story got real cool.
Catholic schoolboy corduroy pants and my mustard yellow uniform
Everybody
shirt.
thought you were Angus Young.
Go right in, no guitar, little boy hat on.
So how old are you when you're actually drinking with your mom?
9 or 10. And I look back at these shit bars, Tootie Toots on North Avenue, like Debbie Debs, Look Out Weekend will be playing. I'd go to the bartender. It'd be like midnight, 1 a.m, order 2 Manhattans. My mom would be dancing next to the smoke machine. I'd be right next to her. Go to school the next day.
And I'm not making a joke. I bet those were like you were like, okay, this will work. This is good.
Well,
I'm drunk. I'm dancing.
I have to drive home sometimes. And,
my feet touch the pedals.
This time they did.
Yeah.
And, down East Avenue. And, it was fucking bizarre, man.
How do you figure?
Well,
I'm kidding.
I'd be like at school the next morning, and they'd be like, well, now we're going to learn cursive. I'm like, I got home 2 hours ago. Like, what do we...
I'm still fucked up.
Printing's no good. Like,
yeah.
These are the thoughts. Like, I don't understand what's wrong with printing.
So your mom is punching you in the eyes, punching your lights out, dropping.
The weird thing is she's super nice sometimes, and then a lunatic. She's alcoholic. So when you're dealing with somebody like that with severe rages, she ultimately went down for robbing a bank. She robbed a bank a little later.
Come again?
Yeah, I wasn't fucking with you when I sent you that text.
What? Huh? Okay. Let's, all right. You won't forget it. His mom robbed a bank. We're going to get to it. This is amazing, Mick Betancourt. Hustle muscle. See, once again, people on Twitter go, you should have this guy in your podcast. And here we are, just like eyes aglow with go on, Mick. What else happened? You so, fucking draw it out of these cocksuckers. Mick's the best. He just hits the ground running. I love it.
I go upstairs because my mom's passed out one night, and my grandfather would always say, "How's a kid doing?" to my mom, and I'm like, "What kid? Like, I like kids, you know." He was just a. Where's that guy? And
wait, was he come in and out?
No, he was upstairs. He lived upstairs.
So he just let your mom punch the shit out of you, and he was like, "I don't want to get involved."
She lived downstairs, so she was
on
the first floor.
Get involved.
No, listen, man.
It was a different time, JJ.
It was a different time. And all right, I'm going to bounce around a little bit because I know we only got about an hour. When I was at his funeral, so I go up, no, I won't bounce around. I go up to his apartment one time. My mom's passed out. He didn't really like the fact that I was color Puerto Rican, and it just bothered him. So I go upstairs one day and one night, and I just keep knocking on his door, and then finally opens. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What are you doing?" It was as a kid, you know what I mean? And he goes, "I'm about to watch a movie." And I go, "I like movies. Can I watch a movie with you?" And he's like, "Fine." So we go in, and the way his apartment was set up is everything was in his kitchen was like a living room. So it was the kitchen stuff, little like mobile bar with a TV on it with a spinner dial, 2 lazy boys. One was green with duct tape on it. The other was yellow, like a little sunroom. Yeah. And it's nice. Like not velvety, real thick, fabric. You know what I mean? Almost like a shag.
But why 2?
Sit down.
In case a 9-year-old stops by?
Black Stallions on. Never seen it. Don't know anything about it. We're watching this young kid, a horse, shipwreck. This kid bonds with this horse. No one can get on this horse but this kid. They know this horse is going to be a champion thoroughbred. Mickey Rooney comes in. shows this kid how to be a man, breaks this horse. They win the big race at the end, and I'm crying, and I look over, my grandfather's crying, and he says, why don't you stay up here tonight? Oh. So he did know. And so he let me stay. He built this little like bunk thing for me in the sunroom, and I just started staying up there. He'd drive me to school at night. We'd go for walks. He'd take me to get ice cream. He'd tell me about World War II. And he would go to this place called The Club, which I later learned was AA. And the guy, you know, saved my life pretty much. So
he was sober?
He was sober. I saw him go out twice. Now I know what going out means. Yeah. But I saw him go out twice. He used to have this woman. She's probably dead now. Her name's Nina. She used to come up twice a year, clean the whole apartment spot to bottom, and then fuck his brains out for a week. I didn't know that, but he'd be like, kid, you got to go in the yard. He just fucking locked the door. Because I remember one time I go,
tiny shovel. Get to work.
I think I know what's going on. So I'm like, I'm going to see if this shit I'm hearing about on the playground is happening with my grandfather, you know, because it was right around that time where shit was starting to change a little bit for when a boy becomes a young man.
Yeah.
So I'm pounding on the door, and I'm like, Gramp, open the door. Oh, my God, Gramp, open the door. And he's like, what the fuck? And then he opens the door. He's like holding a towel around his waist. He's like, what the fuck's going on? I'm like, oh, you're doing it. And he's like, fuck you. And he just slams the door. He was doing it.
Kept his erection, though.
He was doing it and went back in.
Strong like bull.
My mom, so on the weekends, I'd still stay with my grandmother.
All right, real quick.
Yeah.
So when you're with your grandfather upstairs, you got your little bunk in the sunroom.
Yeah,
Does your mom, like, check in? Like, how's he doing?
Sometimes I go down there. She'd still take me out drinking a little bit. And,
This is the craziest shit I've ever heard.
Then on the side of the building, she put on Daisy Dukes and a red bandana and her roller skates, and she taught me how to play baseball. So I can talk shit against my mom all I want. She taught me how to play a game that I truly love, and I just stopped playing last year.
But why did she play baseball in Daisy Dukes and roller skates?
That's the uniform that she felt appropriate for that game.
That's the Johnny Walker red.
Yeah, that was her shit, man. And you know, the kids would ride by and ask me,
you
want to
play baseball? You got to put on your Daisy Dukes.
Yeah, I mean, I wore my uniform.
Roller skates for the kid.
She'd go to some games. My grandfather would go to some games. It was so weird. In the midst of this insanity was peppered odd, as normal as it could get, given the things that she suffered. You know what I mean? That's just the way that it was. One time I was over at my grandmother's. I stayed on the weekend, and my ma shows up shitty, right? And I'm on the floor. I got my little yellow Tonka truck. I'm in my Gram's kitchen. My uncle's leaning up against the counter, the one that my ma's brother. My ma stumbles in. She goes, I want Nina's number. And my grandma's like, why would I have that? Like, it's the woman. It was the mistress that ended the. She's like, Mary, I don't have it. She says, give me the number. And my uncle's like, get the fuck out of here. You just can't come in here and ask mom for Nina's number. Are you insane? She pulls a fucking giant steak knife out of the wooden holder and just goes to stab him right in his neck. And he grabs her wrist, and he starts poking himself in the neck with the tip of the knife, going, fuck you, you crazy bitch. Oh, I bet you want to cut my fucking throat out. Look, it's even touching my neck. And my grandma's just smoking, going, put the knife down, Mary. Put the knife down. Come on. And I'm with my trucks on the floor going, what the fuck is going on?
Totally normal.
Totally normal, man.
So she died before your grandfather died?
No, here's what happened. My grandma?
No, your mom.
No, here's what happened. So I'm living upstairs with my grandfather. I start wrestling, right? And all of a sudden, this is in 8th grade. And I played baseball and I liked it. I played basketball for a little bit. I wasn't very good at it, but I had this burst inside me that nothing could go near than when I was grappling up with kids at the park. And then I found out that it was a thing, that it was called wrestling. You know, there was never televised. It was like you heard rumors of it. You know what I mean? You knew fake wrestling, but there's a thing you can do where you just lock up and you go for it. And so I signed up for this thing, and it was like, I found home. Like it just felt perfect. And so I would goof around with my grandfather, and one day I was the fastest kid in my grade school, and he could beat me in a sprint at 72. And he was a stocky bull motherfucker. It wasn't like he was thin and you know, a smooth sprinting gait.
He was
Irishman. A fucking Chicago motherfucker.
With gin blossoms on his nose.
Bang! Just hammered, because one time I was bragging to him.
World War II. He's outrunning the fucking
He
Japanese
told me he used to be
jungle.
able to jump over a car. I'm like, you whatever. And we just eating nice. I'm like, you could jump over a car. He's like, you think you're fast? I go, I'm the fastest kid at school. He goes, I'll race you right now and I'll beat you. And I'm like, you are out of your mind. He goes, you call it 1, 2, 3, and I'll go. and he was like little alligator legs, like ring, 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 and just right by me
in his black
I couldn't
socks.
fucking believe it. It was like a weird crushed velvet fucking old man jacket, you know, like the furry collar, just fucking ring. So one June, one fucking June, man, it's hot. I wake up, I go into his room, I grab his wrist and I pull him into me. I'm like, I'm going to fucking throw a whizzer on him. Fake, you know what I mean? Just hook it under a little bit and pop him out of bed. He's purple. He looks at me and I'm like, what's going on? He's gasping for air, has a heart attack, dies.
You wrestled the dead man.
Right in my arms.
You killed him.
My whizzer is lethal.
Yeah.
I wanted to fucking goof around and he had a heart attack.
I knew I hated the whizzer.
It's dangerous. Peligroso.
I always hate it. No matter either side you were on it.
No, you're going. Your feet are coming off the ground and it's going to hurt.
But I'm going to circle around towards your head. I'm just going to keep circling. You can't out-circle me.
Really?
Yeah.
No, what if a fake push and then I get you off?
Fake push? I'm fucking new to the game now. Fake push. Better go over there. You know what? I'll grab his head in the cradle. That always works. So
we just went deep inside.
Yeah.
High school wrestling
I was
there.
like, because I ran scared in the whizzer because I don't want any part of it. And I just, if somebody would open, all right.
This kid Norbert Berza would throw vicious headlocks.
So you put your grandfather in a whizzer and you
No, I grabbed his wrist and I went and
killed your grandfather.
I went in there to wrestle with him and he had a heart attack. So I jump over the banister down to my mom's apartment and I start pounding on the door. Graham's dead, call 911. Mom answers the door. Buck naked, shitty. Buck naked guy she had a dining room table in her kitchen. Passed out. Fucking big fifth of fucking vodka on the table. And this guy's like, and I'm bawling. Gramps dead. Call a cop. Call 911. Get an ambulance. She runs and she gets the phone. This guy's like, fuck this. Gets out, you know, some piece of shit she picked up in the bar the night before. Right now, there's a guy on a podcast, and they're like, tell the story the one time you picked up that crazy fucking Irish broad, and you passed out on the fucking dining room table, and the kid's pounding on the door.
Bro, it was Joey Diaz.
It's Joey
fucking
Diaz.
9-year-old comes to the door. Graham's dead. I'm like, I gotta get the fuck out of here, bro. I love Joey Diaz. Yeah. All right. So, 911 comes. It's just a house. People open the doors.
Oh, nice.
Big staff of 40 in there. It's a compound.
So now I go upstairs. We go to the hospital. Graham's dead. Fucked me up, man. I'm not going to lie to you. Now I'm up in this apartment.
First guy safe to say, first guy that was kind to you.
Kind to me. My uncle was nice to me too. He would take me to plays and shit. That was he exposed me to a lot of.
It wasn't as paternal.
Yeah, he was close. He was good.
The top
then
of the totem pole, though.
His brain started to eat itself from the inside out. My uncle's.
Stay with the grandfather.
Yeah.
What happened?
So I go upstairs. The ambulance comes. They wheel him down. They say we could have brought him back, but he just would have been mentally off. He's done. Go to the wake, and I got to tell you, man, I'm wrecked. I went into Ascension Church.
How long did you live with your grandfather?
7 or 8 till 13. So 6 years.
It's safe to say he probably saved your life.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Right. So
absolutely.
You're
and I'm done. And I'm done. The fact that this happened and happened so quickly, I'm done. I go into Ascension and I walk up on the altar and I just fucking spit on the cross. And I'm like, fuck you, motherfucker. You took the one thing I had that was nice. Fuck you. It's on. I remember it distinctly. You know what I mean? And I was an altar boy and I remember, you know, the priest, because my grandma wanted me to be an altar boy. I was an altar boy at St. Odillo's, and the priest would be like, go get some hosts and put them in the tabernacle. And I went over there and they were like in a brown corrugated box with a fucking shipping label from Cleveland. You know what I mean? I'm like, there's a warehouse in Cleveland that makes the fucking body of Christ. You know what I mean? Some fucking guys making $9 an hour with some good benefits, just fucking banging them out.
That's the missing book of the Bible when Jesus visits Cleveland.
You know, I was like, man, and he would chain smoke and he was sober.
Jesus?
No, the fucking Father Sketch, the priest, and he'd be like, don't put any wine in the chalice. I can't have wine. You know, and we find out he's sober. He's an alcoholic. We know, kids, we don't know what the fuck that means. So we're like, fuck this guy. And we're just mixing the Welch's grape juice with wine, making the guy relapse every Sunday. We were animals. Had thumbtacks, so when we were serving funerals, we'd jam them in our legs so we could cry to get more tips.
Wait, you get tips?
Yeah, if you were an altar boy at a funeral, when you just jam that shit into your thigh to tear you up.
Who tips somebody at a funeral?
Italians.
There you go.
Italians and Poles, man. You knew if there was a vowel at the end of the name, you were probably getting a 5 spot, maybe a 10 spot.
I or an O. You're paid in full.
That's it.
So how long? Why? So you stay in your grandfather's house.
So here's what I stay up there. We're wrecked. Now at the wake, I'm in the back, man, and I'm just fucking tore up, man. And he was not a nice guy for a long period of his life. Alcohol took everything. It took everything, man, and it really hurt the kids. But later on, everyone knew he was nice to me. It was a nice redemption for him. But everyone was carrying their own cross, man. Everyone had, and I'm sitting in the back, and this old lady
spit on it
with a motherfucker on there. This old lady, man, had to be 80 or 90, with a black patent leather purse and gloves and the black lace mourning veil, you know. She sits next to me, and at this point I'm just wheezing. I got no tears left. I got nothing, man. I'm fucking spent.
There's no God.
There's nothing.
There can't be.
And she puts her hand on my knee and she goes, "Your grandfather was the most dashing gangster I had ever seen." And she just gets up and she just fucking walks out. And I'm like, what the you know, I know the guy that bought me ice cream.
You watched Black Stallion with him.
Well, you know, I know that guy. Turns out he ran guns with this guy, Kassane, worked for the Northside Irish crew.
Don't name names now.
Kassane's gone.
All right.
And, you know, got into it a little bit. I'm pretty sure he did 7 years of a 15-year sentence for armed robbery.
Oh, my God.
So
you go back, after the wake, you go back to the house.
I go back to the house. I stay in that apartment, and I'm still wrestling. I ate all my candy because there's no one buying groceries now. And my uncle Tommy, who my grandfather he's my other uncle, my grandfather's other son, lives in the dining room area. Then it's walled off, and I would see him every now and then. He's a pathological liar. He told
This
me
is like roaches, just people coming out of holes
everywhere.
In the wall.
Big Irish family says, you know, I used to fly
And
helicopters. Well, the Puerto
Rican. There's been like 6,000 people in one structure.
I'm cut off. There was a lot of people in Humboldt Park, but in 1, 2, 3, 4 in Berwyn. Anyway, so I'm in there, man, and I'm by myself. And there was this scumbag named Pete that was hitting my ma.
Fucking Pete. I hate that fucking guy.
Pete, yeah, he's a real piece of shit. Can I say his last name so if you see him on the street, your fans can punch him in the face?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I won't do that, but I'll tell you a funny story about that. Anyway, I hear...
Everybody got fired up. Everybody in Chicago and the greater Chicago, Joliet, everybody.
All right.
They're all ready to go. Where the fuck is Pete?
I wonder what's my legal liability here if I fire someone up.
I'll cover all your bills. Don't worry.
All right. I'm going to tell you a funny story about this too, because I told you that my neighbor's pit bull killed my dog. So anyway, this guy used to...
This is not as a kid. You just told me that before we got on the mic.
They married together. So this guy, he would fucking slap my mom around. One time he put her head through the window, and I went down there and I knocked him out and I dragged him out into the backyard and handed him off to the cops. And so my mom...
How old were you when that happened?
14. So my mom...
And I'm not fighting Mick Betancourt. I'm
not a tough guy, man. I'm not a tough guy.
I've always told people like, there's guys like Joe Rogan.
No,
where if I had like a baseball bat and he was blindfolded and after 3 shots he takes up the blindfold, I would lay the baseball bat at his feet and go, nah, I'm not doing this. Whatever you want me to be your assistant or something? Because he'll kill you.
I wouldn't fight Joe Rogan if Joe Rogan was on a beach and I was on a Navy fucking destroyer shooting missiles at him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't fucking...
He's a killer.
There's no way.
But Mick Betancourt is knocking out guys at 14 years old.
No, he was a cokehead and he was a piece of shit, so his guard was down.
You're still 14.
I threw a heater on his butt. Plus I was wrestling too, and you're in good shape.
That's true. That's true.
So
take the fight to the ground.
I hit him and then I went down. It was a little ground and pound before its time, and I threw some in, but he was out, and then I just dragged him out. I did yank him by his fucking piece of shit mullet into the backyard. This fucking scumbag would say to me, he was an outfit guy, like a piece of shit low-end outfits mob in Chicago. Low-end scumbag fucking soldier, probably sold nickel bags of blow. 2 times. Wear Iron Maiden. He's like a fucking rock shirts. Iron Maiden. He'd say to me, you want to know who a real fucking American hero is? You want to get into some real guitar shit? Yngwie Malmsteen.
What a douche.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it literally, my mom's got a open hand mark on her face. You should get into some Yngwie Malmsteen as he's chewing his fucking cheek off as the coke come down's happening, you know? Some piece of shit.
And go sideways over to Joe Satriani when you're done.
I know, such a fucking douche. Anyway, the reason why I bring him up is when my neighbor, so my mom moves out because I knocked out her boyfriend. When my neighbor This dog killed my dog.
We're in present day now.
Present day. I started to get really riled up and pissed, and I knew I was going to Chicago for this. Happened a week before Christmas. I knew I was going back to Chicago for Christmas. Now I've been sober for 12 years, haven't caused any problems, haven't gotten in any fights, nothing. I've only really lost my temper twice in 12 years. Really fucking popped off, you know, and no one got hurt. I didn't fight anybody. Just popped off. I think to myself, I'm going to go find this motherfucker. I'm going to tune him up real nice, and I'm going to feel him.
Hit your mom?
I'm going to find Pete, and I'm going to tune him up, and it's going to feel amazing. Amazing, like really hurt the guy. So he's got to be in, because I know he doesn't have health insurance because he's a scumbag. So now once he heals, he realizes he's got like $250 debt over his head, like just repeatedly fucking with him over the next like 4 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like fucking crush all the bones in his hands,
But
fuck with his throat.
This speaks to your character, Mick Betancourt. Your mom used to punch you in the face, but you still needed to defend her honor. You can't, nothing's thicker than blood. I love it.
So I'm jammed up. I do the things that I was taught to do. I call my guy. I tell him I have a resentment. And I have to do the writing and the thing, and I got to pray on it and all the shit
stuff for the listeners.
Yeah, all the shit I got to do. Yeah. And I finally go, I can't do that. I just got to be okay with my dog dying, and I got to hope Pete's doing okay. I get into town. My friend takes me to the Blackhawks game. He's a Chicago cop. 6-time super fucking heavyweight boxing champion, Golden Gloves winner, just an animal, real dear friend of mine. And I'm telling him the story of how I was going to go.
Dude, I love the expression "tune him up." I don't use it enough.
I'm going to go, and I'm talking. This guy's name's Pete too. I'm telling Pete about Pete, and I say, "Listen, man,
Pete and repeat."
And all the time he's standing up, right? And then I go, so I'm not going to do it. And he's like, what the fuck? He's a cop. He goes, I got a gorilla mask and an old man mask in my trunk right now. He goes, we're going to get this fucking guy right now. And I go, I'm telling you this story because I don't want to do it. I'm trying to take the fucking high road here. And he's like, no, we're going right. Fuck the game.
Gorilla mask and an old man mask. Fucking Pete, the cop in Chicago.
So we fucking.
Was he a pole or an eye tie?
He's Irish and Greek.
All right.
Stand-up guy, man. Stand-up.
He's standing up the whole time he's talking to him.
But this guy's amazing, man.
Tune up Pete.
This is one of the fucking best guys I know. Every time I go to Chicago, I hang with this guy. He's the best. And so then he starts sending me homicide scene pictures as a joke for the next 2 weeks of guys that like have their fucking head blown off. I got some on my phone. I'll show you. He's like, hey, I found Pete.
I'm good.
He's like, yeah, I found a guy. It's fucking great, man. I miss Chicago.
All right. So this is amazing.
So now I'm in this apartment, and is that what we got left?
Hold on. We got to give some love to the sponsors real quick. But we're going to talk about you living alone in your grandfather's house, and your mom robbed a bank.
Oh, yeah.
But here's...
I'll squeeze it in. We'll make it right.
Here's some sponsors real quick, and we're coming back.
There's sponsors after that.
No, it's great. Sponsors love it. Homicide, tuning guys up, and now here's a word from our friends that support the podcast. BarkBox, you heard me. Each monthly BarkBox contains 4 to 6 full-size products, including everything from innovative toys and gadgets, leashes, treats, and more. All treats are sourced from the USA and Canada, and chews are sourced from the USA, Canada, South America, Australia, and New Zealand. BarkBox edible products do not include rawhide or anything processed with formaldehyde. Minimal processing, no glycerin, whenever possible. Wheat, gluten, soy, corn, filler-free whenever possible. Organic, whenever possible. BarkBox. In terms of toys, grooming products, and hygiene products, BarkBox tries to always source from American vendors. Everything included in each box is high quality and safe and tested by their own dogs. I think that's cool. They put their name on it. BarkBox offers 3 monthly plans, each tailored to your dog's size to ensure appropriate treats and toys are delivered. BarkBox is committed to the cause of homeless dogs. As a rule, they give 10% of the revenue to local rescues and shelters across the United States and Canada. In 2013, BarkBox donated over $150,000 to puppies in need through a number of innovative social good campaigns. Help BarkBox give $1 million in 2014. You can do it. Save 20% on your new subscription by visiting BarkBox.com/more, M-O-H-R. BarkBox.com/more, BarkBox.com/more.
Geico presents Fan Mail to a Pig.
Dear Maxwell, I just want to say thank you for making my Geico Insurance ID card digital. It's easy to find on the app. It doesn't give me paper cuts, and I always have it on hand because it's on my phone. Because of this, I finally cleaned out my glove box, which was filled with years of paper ID cards. Any thought on what I should put in my glove box now? Sincerely, Trent Patterson. Trent, what can you put in the glove box? Here's a crazy thought. How about gloves?
digital insurance ID cards just a tap away on the Geico app.
This episode of More Stories brought to you by Stamps.com. Of course, when you think about the best time to go to the post office, you're probably guessing before work, after work, maybe during lunch. Wrong. That's when it's the most crowded. Everybody's going to the post office all the time. The truth is, there is no convenient time to go to the post office. That's why you need Stamps.com. You need Stamps.com. With Stamps.com, access all the services of the post office right from your desk. Buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter or package using your computer, your printer. Then you just hand it to your mail carrier. It's so easy. And unlike the post office, Stamps.com is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with no lines. So you can get your mailing and shipping done whenever it's convenient for you. I use Stamps.com, and I want you to use Stamps.com. Right now, use my last name, Mohr, M-O-H-R, for the special offer. No risk trial, $110 bonus offer that includes a digital scale and up to $55 free postage. $55. That's a lot of letters, my friend. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com before you do anything else. Click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in Mohr, M-O-H-R. Stamps.com. Enter more.
When shopping for car insurance, consider this. Geico has been saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years. So if you're serious about savings, it's simple. Go to Geico.com. After 75 years, they know how to save you money.
All right. So you're alone in your grandfather's house.
Apartment building, 2-flat.
All right. You
Yeah,
split
little
atoms
Polish
with me.
babushka hair salon in the front.
Nice. With
Very
the pictures
nice.
that
Little
nobody ever
bluebirds.
gets of
Yeah.
haircuts. Like, I want the Justin Bieber before Justin Bieber was alive
Yeah.
cut on the young Russian lad.
Yeah.
In
Can
the
I have the
photo.
Ukrainian expat mushroom cut?
I want to drive a cab the rest of my life. Can you give me that weird look and smudged glasses?
I need a stab-proof haircut.
Fucking at Mick Betancourt. Hit him up, Warriors. He's a 100%er. And he's got a lot of more stories. You're coming back because I know we're not even fucking scratching the surface
Yeah.
of your life. So how long did you live alone in your grandfather's apartment?
Almost
and how
2
old
years.
were you?
No, I was 14 and 14 and
That would
15.
be 15. Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole, I graduated my grade school graduation. I went back to an empty apartment. I enrolled myself in high school. I pencil whipped the paperwork to get in there. And then I got like halfway through my freshman year, man, and I just fucking, I couldn't deal anymore. I went in and I asked to see a counselor. I said, can I just, I was walking down the hall one day, man, and I was working at this pizzeria that was run by outfit guys. I was the worst fucking busboy in the history of busboys. So
How
they
could you
said,
be a bad busboy? You pick up the plates, you put them in the tray, you walk
I
to the
pick up
kitchen.
a plate. My Mexican coworkers got 50 plates on one hand and 100 glasses on the other, and I'm like, have one napkin and I'm using to pinch a fucking one cup that I'm bringing. They're like, you got to bust the whole fucking restaurant. So I'm working at this place till 2 a.m, wrestling at 5:30, working at the school for financial aid.
Okay.
So I'm working there morning during my lunches and then after school before wrestling practice to pay for the school. It was a private school. And
wait, so you have no parent, you're
No.
living alone.
Yeah.
You enroll yourself in school, you get yourself to school.
Yeah.
You make your own meals, you work.
Well, I eat at the restaurant. So when the guy goes, listen,
smart, yeah.
don't come in on Saturday. And I'm like, I got to come in. He's like, I'm
the
telling
guys are
you
coming in.
not to come on fucking Saturday.
Yeah, I know this language.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm like, he goes, then take a fucking sandwich. Like, don't come in. You want a sandwich? I'll make you a sandwich. You're like, Tommy, get the kid a fucking sandwich. I go, I'm on my Huffy. And I'm like, I'm going in just to say hey to everybody. And I go, the whole fucking place is up in flames.
Oh.
Fucking, yeah, totally torched. So I go to the spot where I went to get the job the first time, and I'm like, Steve, what happened? And he goes, we got hit by Greek lightning.
I've heard other nationalities lightning. I never heard Greek lightning. I dig it.
So then they reopened down, but then I was out of a gig. So I would just steal food, and I stole food from the grocery
You're
store.
like in
hot
the apple
dogs,
dumpling
cheese.
gang.
Yeah. So so I get in
There should be a
freshman year.
movie of this. This like
Well, I'm writing the book, man, and there's a much happier ending to this. Obviously, I'm giving you the grit in the beginning.
Yeah, no, we dig it.
So anyway, I go and I talk to this guy, and he goes, "What's going on?" I go,
counselor?
"Listen." Yeah, the counselor's name was Brother John. Man, see, this is why the name of the book's before I forget, because I'm starting to forget some of this shit. His name was Brother John. He was a Dominican brother school, but he was a Franciscan brother with the brown robes and the rope belt. And I said, "Listen, can I go? There's an old rectory on the other side of the school. I just had a lot of respect for the school because my grandma used to work there as a registrar. And when I would stay with her on the weekends, sometimes I would go to the school with her. And this school was like a castle. And there were like rich kids who went there. Like the CEO of Sears kid went there in Montgomery Wards. Like it was a big deal. So like my dream was like, if I could go to that school, I might have a shot, you know? And so I said, listen, I don't want to disrespect the school. There's some beds in the old rectory up on the tower over there. I want to sleep in one. And he's like, well, why do you want to do that? And I'm like, I'm going to tell you something, but I don't want to go on the run. I don't want to mess around.
He said, on my rope belt, I swear I won't repeat the story.
I can't bet with you legally.
Yeah.
I can't, yeah. I got a rope belt and 2 sandals. So, I said, listen, I need a place to sleep because my whole place was fucking mice infested. It was nasty, man. It was really nasty. And there was no food. And, I was done, cashed out. And so I said,
so they were hungry mice.
You know what's weird, man? The mice, literally like a cartoon. One time I stole a loaf of bread, burrowed through from the beginning through the plastic all the way to the other side. And they were so fucking hungry in that house. And it was infested in that apartment. They chewed through the fucking cans. Like there would be like old things of chicken broth. They chewed through the fucking
goat mice.
It was insane. The fucking goat mice.
Yeah.
I should have stolen to them.
Goat
sold
mice.
Them. Fucking goat mice.
Yeah.
All graphic artists listening to this podcast right now have to draw a picture of a goat mouse.
They'll do it.
And send it to @Mick Betancourt on the Twitter.
And put me in there too. I want to see him. So did you get the bed of the rectory?
No, so I said, he goes, what's going on? I go, listen, I don't have parents. I've been coasting, going to school, and I'm starting to smell.
I'm starting to smell.
Yeah, because I can't do laundry.
Right.
I can't, all of it it was done, man. It just like things just collapsing. And he goes, what are you talking about? And I go, he goes, we're going to your place right now. We go, and he's like, this is the worst case of child abuse I've ever seen. He's like, we're going to find your mother. We're going to throw her in jail. And I'm like, I ain't saying shit about anything. I go, I want a place to stay and I want food to eat. That's what I want. If anybody asks me about my mom, I'm not going to say shit. I'm not pressing nothing. I'll go. I'll just take off. So I'm not going to court. I'm not going to DC. I want a place to sleep and food. And he's like, do you know anybody that you can stay with tonight? So I reached out to my uncle who came, and he had just
the uncle that had the knife to his throat?
Yeah. His first son was like, I think Pat was 1. Taryn wasn't born yet. And he was struggling too in this little town called Riverside. So I went to go stay with him, and I lived out of a suitcase. So at night I would open the suitcase. I'd put sheets on the sofa, sleep on there. I'd wake up in the morning. I'd take the sheets off, put them in, take out my school clothes, and then go to school. We get evicted out of that place, move back into my fucking old apartment.
It wasn't condemned?
No, it was for sale. Because I wondered how are the fucking bills were being paid. My grandfather had a little money in a trust account that was keeping the utilities on and everything while the building was up for sale, but no one was going to buy it. Not only was it infested with mice, all the plumbing was, I think you needed PVC and it was copper or whatever the flip of that was. You know what I mean? Like everything needed to be fucking replaced. So no one's going to buy it, you know? So we moved back in there because you didn't have to pay rent.
Your uncle and his new kids.
Yeah. 2 kids, me, my uncle, and his wife. Back into that place. Then my mom moves back in downstairs, and she's a drunk fucking lunatic. And then finally we get out of there and we move to Forest Park. I get out of, I'm about to go into the Marines because I got no hope for college. You know what I mean? My grades weren't very good. And I quit wrestling my freshman year because of all the shit that was going on. When I went in to talk to the counselor, I'm like, I just got to get right. I got to get into a place where I can get a routine going. Senior year, I tried back out for the team, and I made varsity, and I trained, and I cut weight, and I got a spot at 152. My walk around was like 182, and I got down to 152.
Big cut.
Magical fucking year, man. For me to come and end it like that, you know what I mean? Go back to this thing that I had really loved. So I'm like, I'm going into the Marines because I got shit money, and my aunt and uncle are struggling. I'm a burden on them. I got to fucking get out of here, and I know I'm not going to school. Marines maybe kick my ass a little bit, you know? So we'll talk about this in another podcast. When I was 16, I got involved with this crew, and I had a hit put out on me, and I had to walk away from.
Come on, Nick.
I had to walk away from that, and so I'm about to go into the Marines. My English teacher writes a letter to this scholarship organization. I get a full ride to 3 different colleges. Go immediately get, like, I'm there and all these kids got like JanSport backpacks and they got haircuts. I remember this, man. When I was 18, I went to the bank and the guy's like, all right, here, this is a checking account thing. And I go, oh, good, man. That's nice. I go, how does it work? He goes, well, you write here who you want to make the check out to. And then in this little square, you put the money amount and then you sign it. And then you go and you reconcile it in the back. And I go, what stops me from writing whatever money, number amount I want in the box? And he goes, well, you have to have that amount of money. I go, yeah, I know, I get that. But like, if I write any amount of money in it, then someone's going to give me that. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, I want 4 boxes of these. I need as many of these fucking things as you're going to give me. Cause I just thought I'm still just going day to day. There's no big long-term plan.
So you never went to the Marines. You went to college.
I went to college.
What college?
I wound up going to Loyola University. I got kicked out of 3 dorms, and then they were like, you got to go, kid. You can't
So you didn't finish college?
No.
How did your mom rob a bank?
All right, so here's what happened. So I'm hanging out with some guys.
Here. Let's do this.
What's that?
We're rounding third. So
okay.
Let's finish strong.
So I'm not really talking.
How you finish stronger than this.
I'm going to tell you 2 stories that you really get a kick out of involving this very thing. So I get booted out of college. I meet this beautiful girl when I'm 19. We're still together. We've been together 21 or 22 years. My wife.
Really?
Yeah. She saved my life. Katie, if you're listening, I love you.
I love you, Katie. You're good people.
She's the best. And so I'm running around, but I'm running around with some characters, because my uncle showed me these great writers, Hemingway, Faulkner, Shakespeare. Took me to a couple plays. I went to go see Itzhak Perlman and Yo-Yo Ma, and and my grandma would take me to church, and I knew right from wrong, but there was still this real connection to the street because
that's where the money is.
Well, that's where the money is, and I don't really have any skills, and at this point in my life, I have a real resentment against rich people because it just seems like they just get. Not now. I don't have that now, but. It was just a big chip on my shoulder. So I'm like, I'm not going to play your fucking game, right? I'm going to be on the street. I like blue collar people. These are my people. So this group of guys I used to hang out with were great. And, so my pal Dave, who has since passed away, he's in the big, Party in the Sky, looked like Fenster from, Usual Suspects. Nice. Fucking great. He was like 6'2", Ecuadorian, ice blue eyes. This kid was a pony, man. Fucking pony. And, he shows up to my door. I'm like 24-ish. No. Yeah, 24. He shows up. He's got 5 DVD players. He was a big time fence. He goes, listen, man, I think the cops are on me. I got 5 DVD players. These are when the 5 disc changers came out, and that was the shit. And they were like $500 a pop. He's like, I need 100 for each. Take whatever you want off the top. But he goes, I think I'm hot. You got to watch these for me. So I'm like, all right, fine. I set him down. I give him a little hug. He leaves. Not fucking 2 minutes later. And I think it's him. And I'm like, what do you want, Dave? And I hear, FBI, open the fucking door. So I'm like, oh shit, oh fuck. And I open the door, 2 guys there, and they go, Mick Betancourt? And I go, yeah. They go, what were you doing this morning? And I go, I was working at Home Depot. I still had my fucking uniform on. I go, I'm a truck driver for Home Depot. What do you guys want? Can you prove you were Home Depot? Yeah, I punched in and out. I'm sure there's fucking cameras there. What's the deal? They go, your mother robbed Forest Park Federal Bank this morning. And I go, oh, fuck, thank God. Because I had the fucking DVD players in the phone. He's like, excuse me? And I'm like, nothing. She's good? Where's she at now? And I'm like, she's downtown at the MCC. So I go, oh, okay.
You guys need a DVD player?
You guys like watching movies?
You ever seen Black Stallion with an old man?
You can watch Black Stallion and have 4 on deck for the low price of $150 because I got to take a cut.
It's a low cut.
So it's a little cut.
He's putting heat on you.
Yeah, but I'm moving for $150. They move fast. So
you're a good fencer.
Well,
I think you're selling
he was aces.
short.
His dad, who just passed away, his dad was a bit of a scumbag, but his dad made his bones when the digital watches came out, they used to have the hands and the Casio watches that first came out that just had the digital display. The box was only like 3 inches by 3 inches. He stole a tractor trailer load full.
Oh my
packed. You know how many had to be fucking 10,000 watches in there? And that was like the biggest, it was an infamous score.
That was the Lufthansa heist.
Yeah, that was Lufthansa heist in Chicago. Casio watches.
Fucking watches.
But he stole that, and me and this kid, he wound up going to Loyola, and he got kicked out, and he and I met like one night, and it was like two alpha dogs butting heads because we realized we both kind of had a rough upbringing, and we were kind of hanging out with these preppy kids, so I swung my dick a little bit around these clean-cut kids, so I was kind of the bad boy. You're 18, you're a fucking idiot. And so he was a little bit older, and he's like, no, I'm the fucking, he didn't say that, but he was acting like, I'm the tough guy in this group. And so we decided to just ice it out and hang together, and then we were literally thick as thieves, because if he ever had...
How much time did your mom do?
So here's what happened. So my uncle calls me, and he goes, listen...
Oh, thank God.
He goes, your ma...
Instead of the feds.
Your ma...
Oh, thank God. Excuse me? No, I mean, I'm just glad, that you guys have her in custody.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to get hurt.
Lamb, She's a,
She should be very ashamed of herself, sir.
Mister.
So,
would you like some coffee?
Do you like...
You want good Danish?
Seneca? It's instant. Sanka. Fuck. Sanka.
How about a Fresca? All right.
So anyway, my uncle goes, listen, your ma just got locked up. She's downtown at the MCC. It comes out in the papers. And you know what? I wasn't.
Real quick, I imagine the headline: Mick Betancourt's mom.
I had a show at fucking a stand-up show that night too, because I started doing stand-up by this time, and it was in the same paper. I have the clippings. So
your stand-up ad was in the same paper as your mom getting popped for robbing a bank.
Robbing a bank, yeah. You could pull it up right now. Was it
a shootout or
no? She robbed it with a bank. She said I was being held hostage. And that if they didn't pay her, that so
no weapons.
No weapons, which is why you need three things for armed robbery to catch a real serious federal case, and one is threat of violence. And because she didn't listen, first off, this robbery was sponsored by vodka. It wasn't like she was a fucking
good sponsor.
Yeah, they sponsored a lot of amazing things. I don't think they get the respect that they deserve.
They were my sponsor for many years.
Yeah, so it wasn't like she was nuts. She had some serious mental issues.
Yeah.
Fuel that with the alcoholism and the drug abuse.
Right.
A horrible Irish temper. She would carry a pistol around with her all the time. It's funny she didn't use that, because she would pull that out and get arrested for that all the time.
Brandishment, felony.
Just fucking bang right out. And, she would always be able to flip that charming Irish switch, and she could cry. She always kind of got out of shit. You know what I mean? So anyway, I tell my uncle, I go, I don't know what happened. I'm really bummed out because I know she's going to go down for this. What turns out is my mom met this guy online.
Hold on. Three things when you rob a bank to do serious time. One's
threat of violence. One's the actual rob. I forget what all three are, but she didn't catch like a 12-year case. I think she did 4 years, 3 or 4 years.
Oh, that's very low for a bank robbery.
She would have done way more.
Yeah.
They felt bad for her because they could tell, once they locked her up, she was a fucking puddle. She wasn't like, fuck you, motherfuckers, and slapping cops and shit. That happened later. When this happened. So my mom meets this guy online on AOL named Vinny Valero.
Oh. Of the Southside Valeros.
If he was from Florida. They meet online, they have a online relationship, and they're talking on the phone long distance. She doesn't have to
ask him in his profile, do you like having sex while you're passed out naked on a table?
Do you like vodka?
Yeah, that's really all it is, right?
Do you like the hard wood slapping against your ass of a cheap Wicks furniture dining room table so we can keep it classy?
Keep it classy.
If you do, send back a winky emoticon. So she meets this guy. She doesn't have long distance package. Phone bill up. AOL bill up. Bill's packing up bottles of vodka everywhere. Grade A drunk. Says to herself, I'm going to go rob this bank. I'm going to go down to Florida and surprise Vinny. Great. Another amazing plan sponsored by vodka.
Yeah.
She goes, she hits the bank, she gets caught up. Vinny calls my uncle. He's talking with my uncle. Vinny Valero. Now, my mom could walk into a room full of Wharton Business School graduates, in $10,000 Brioni suits. And there could be a drunk Italian guy in the corner and a wife beater punching a baby. And she would be like, who's the hot guy with the kid?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's like,
I love babies. Just not mine.
her picker was busted, you know? So Vinny calls my uncle from Florida and he goes, listen, I love your sister, but she's got some problems. And my uncle's like, you think? She's fucking downtown at the MCC locked up for robbing a bank to go see you. Did you have anything to do with this? And Vinny's like, I'm telling you, I didn't know this was going to happen. My intentions with your sister are nothing but normal. And my uncle goes, listen, man, my spidey senses are tingling a little bit with you. Something's fucked up. You either come clean with me now or I'm on a plane to Florida and I hunt you down. How are we going to do this? So Vinny goes, well, I actually got something I got to tell you. I'm hoping you could tell your sister now. Is a really contentious relationship between these two because my mom lost me to my uncle, even though she just was a fucking lunatic. Still, I moved in with her brother, and then that Irish knucklehead mentality, he had taken her son. You know what I mean? So they're really contentious. Plus a bunch of other shit.
Vinny and your
their
uncle?
whole fucking life. No, my uncle and my mom.
Okay, good.
You know what I mean? Just really fucking love, hate. Urgh. So Vinny goes, I'm hoping to tell you something, and you could tell your sister for me. And my uncle's like, what's that? And Vinny goes, I'm actually a woman. And my uncle's like, como se dice? Like, what?
Como se dice?
It's like,
¿Qué se dice de...
De Bolsack, you know? David Bolsack?
No, Bolsack. You like it, the juice? Yeah.
So my uncle's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And Vinny goes, well, I portrayed myself as a guy online, and I just really fell in love with your... And he's like, I'm going to go tell her right now. Like, cause he was just like,
he couldn't wait.
Couldn't wait. So he goes downtown to the MCC, go see her.
She thinks he's there to bail her out.
Well, she ain't getting out. And no one's got any money. No one's got shit. We're all poor. Says through the glass, hey, I got some news for you about your boyfriend. My mom hears it and goes fucking bananas. She nods at him, goes to her cell, doesn't say anything. My uncle's like, what the fuck's going on? Leaves. Turns out she goes. She makes a shank. And she just starts stabbing any Italian she can find. Just anybody. 5-point restraints, starts a riot in the prison. And they got to ship her out of there. They ship her
to your grandfather's apartment.
Yeah.
It's called that central here, dude.
To fucking Florida.
Ooh.
Who do you think lives in Florida?
Vinny Valero.
Vinny motherfucking Valero.
Or whatever her name is.
Michelle
Valero.
Goes and sees my ma, won't see her. Fuck you. Then she realizes I'm in prison. Fuck am I going to do? Wears her down like water on a rock. Fucking ma doesn't give a fuck. Gets out, does halfway house in Chicago with the mustard seed. The second she's clear off of parole, down to Florida, spends the last 11 years of her life with Vinny Valero. Happy, joyous, and free. How about them apples?
This is and have you ever met Vinny Valero?
No. What happened was my mom.
Photos?
No, my mom got.
She looked like a Vinny.
Her. Well, I won't say her last name. Her name's Lori. I never met her. No, I won't say it. She, you know what? I'm super happy for I had to cut my mom off because she's real dangerous.
Did she die sober or did she die drunk?
No, she got sober for about 6 months and it didn't work out for her. So I get a call around Christmas 2 years ago. Listen, your mom's dead. Priest here, last rites. She's been on life support now for about 3 days. We're going to pull all the plugs, turn the machines off. So we just wanted to let you know. Lori called me. We just want you to know we're real proud with all the things that have been happening in your career and your writing. Very nice. Thanks, Lori. Plugged the machines. I'm waiting for the call that your mom's dead. Lori calls back. Yeah, there's been a little, just kind of weird. They shut everything down and they took the tubes out of her and she woke up and she started calling the nurse a bitch and what the fuck is she doing here? And she asked for a cigarette and I gave her one and she got up and she walked out. So no one really knows what's happening. And I'll call and keep you posted. She just
So how long did she live after that?
a year.
With Vinny, back to Vinny Valero?
She backed with Vinny, I think, for 6 months, then hospice for like 4 months of that. She died Thanksgiving of a year ago, a year ago Thanksgiving. So
that's got to be death of a parent is like the worst thing. Well, death of a child, nothing will ever be worse than that. But when your parent dies, obviously it's like, well, who do I call? Who do I look up to? But when the parent is abusive, it's 50 times more complicated because you're grieving, but at the same time, there's so much unresolved stuff. It's the most complicated. I don't know if there's a name for that emotion.
No, I think they call it PTSD.
Yeah.
Shell
shock.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing that
Soldier's
really...
Heart.
Disposable Heroes. How great is that Metallica song?
It's pretty good. I was doing the Carlin bit. They just go, it used to be shell shock.
Oh, yeah. That's great.
Now it's post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah. Fuck, was he great.
We're not making light of our troops. We love our troops. So your mom, mom found love late in life.
Late in life. And now it's funny that you mentioned that about parents. When I got sober, I found, and the thing that I went to, obviously there's lunatics wherever you go, but I found I found realistic role models. I found guys who were trying to stay sober day at a time. I found guys that were trying to do the right thing and failed and didn't quit because they failed. They got back up the next morning and they said, today's another day.
Yeah.
How do I shake yesterday and get on it today? And that blew my mind because my whole life I had thought, like with wrestling, if I ate a cookie, day was ruined. So fuck it. I'll eat the whole bag of cookies and then I'm going to eat a piece. Like there was once that one thing happened, my brain had convinced me that it's over. And that translated into every other area. One bad thing, then it's all shit. That's just how I thought.
But it never did with stand-up. Because the first time you do stand-up, no one's really good.
Correct.
Buddy Hackett told me, think about... Let me pick that name up. Buddy, I realized out of fucking nowhere.
You need two hands and a back belt to pick that fucking name up.
No, I got it. You see these weights? I got a kettlebell, man. I hit Forrest Griffin.
You had to draw a fucking mark to know where to hit him.
I didn't know where to fucking liver or kidney, whatever.
Are you ready to fight? Are you ready to fight? I need the marker. First.
Do you guys have a Sharpie? Could you just put this
Tell
in
him
your
I get
jaw?
to do the Sharpie thing. He said I could do it.
No, that's already that's the contract. Size of the ring.
Dana, listen, Jay needs
whatever
Anderson.
Jay wants. That's what Dana says. Whatever Jay wants.
Yeah. We need a silver marker for Anderson.
Yeah. Anderson. Listen. Buddy Hackett told me I'm going to bring this full circle.
Finally.
No, because he's got to keep his eyes on the levels and shit because I don't know how to work anything because I'm an idiot. The Mick Betancourt show is the podcast.
Yeah, check it out.
I will check it out. And the Warriors, that's what they call themselves. I didn't name them.
Awesome.
They name themselves because if you name them, it's embarrassing.
You can't do that.
Could you guys call yourself Marines? Don't. Hold on. I really don't. Here's the thing.
That could be your
with you,
friendship.
and we'll bring it full circle.
All right.
And it's there goes Mothra flying by. We're in a garage here in undisclosed location, Fake Mustache Studios. He said when you did stand-up comedy, he always tried to hammer into my head how special comics were. And he said when you first did stand-up comedy, you were using 1/10 of 1% of the talent you would have a year later, let alone 30, 40, 50 years later. But they still invited you back. And that blew my mind.
Wow.
There's no other job. You can't have your first surgery and do 1% of a fucking heart. You're out. And you can't be a dentist and go like, I just fucking chipped this tooth. I'm an idiot.
That's incredible, man.
And he goes, there's some tickets, all my tickets and t-shirts and info at jmohr.com. Mick Betancourt, you grew up poorer than I could ever imagine. I was like middle class.
You wrestled though, man. What weight did you wrestle at?
105 as a freshman.
Okay.
And then 129, and then 129 again, and then 135 as a senior.
How fucking great is that sport, man?
I wish I could do it all over again so badly because all those push-ups you don't do because the coach turns his head and you just lay with your tummy on the mat going down, down, and you're just resting. I'm like, if I could have all those push-ups back, I wouldn't have lost 3-1. I would have had like that little extra something in the tank.
Nothing has stung to this day, and we'll probably talk about how fucking insane my childhood was. Nothing compared to how I felt when I knew I gave up wrestling. You know, like when I was wrestling somebody and the tank was empty and the coach was so excited and they're screaming and all you got to do is switch, or you just, you know, you need one escape, and my tank was empty because I did that. Because I shorted myself in practice and preparation. Just to this day, I could tell you every time I lost and why. Like, it's like a photographic memory of.
I got way too many losses to single them out. But I do remember I wrestled a kid in Boonton, New Jersey that was just kicking the shit out of me. He would take me down and let me up, take me down, but he was just like a savant at single and double leg takedowns. I just could not get taken down by this guy. And then he gets me in a cradle, but the idiot had his hand, for some reason, something was under my left scapula, like my back, so he couldn't pin me. And we were down there for like a minute, but I was choking to death because he had his whole body across my neck. So I actually wiggled over to my right to pin myself. I'm like, this is crazy. And it was already like 18-5 was like the score with like a minute and a half left. And I'm like, you know what? I'm out of here.
I'll close this one for you.
I'm out of here. And the kid never said like, hey, thanks for the assist, bro.
There were these two brothers that went to Mount Carmel called the Williams brothers. They were undefeated in grade school and undefeated in high school. And I had to wrestle this guy senior year to go to, I think, sectionals, in sectionals to go to state. And he chewed gum. He fucking chewed gum while he wrestled. And I said to the ref, and I go, he's got gum in his mouth. And he goes, it's Joe Williams. Like the ref couldn't believe he got to ref a Joe Williams match. And it was like Jordan coming out onto the mat. I mean, he was like a draw.
Also chewed gum, yeah.
Yeah. And he just snapping the gum. It was such a mind fuck. My mom lived downstairs.
How old were you?
13.
Straight balling. I got my grandfather's pad. You want to come over? We'll ride Huffies.
Here's the weird thing about that. So my parents were 16, 17 when I was born. My dad's Puerto Rican, my mom's Irish. My mom didn't want shit to do with me, so my dad raises me. I thought I was black till I was 7 because I didn't speak Puerto Rican. I came out looking white as a nun's ass. I'm in a neighborhood called Humble Park in Chicago, all Puerto Rican. We shared a house with a black family. So I just hung out with those kids. It was Tyrone, Dude, and Bebe.
Dude?
Dude. The kid's name was Dude. So we just hung out. And I just thought, like, if you were to ask me a question, like, hey, go do the dishes, I'd be like, ain't. And that's just how I talked. Dad dies at 22. My dad dies at 22. My Irish uncle comes, kidnaps me out of the ghetto, moves me in with my mom, who's got a very strict beat the black out of me program. Like anytime any fucking black.
She did a good job because you're really white.
Fucking cracked the shit out of me.
There's no black on you anymore.
Nothing.
She did it.
No. Sometimes if I bump a little Rick Ross in the Prius, you might see it a little bit. I let the dogs out.
You are a Baja man. So you're okay. When you're 13, all right, so you got a mom and dad. Your dad's Irish, your mom's Puerto Rican.
My dad was Puerto Rican.
Your dad's Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Your mom's Irish.
Yeah.
Your mom doesn't want anything to do with you.
Not really.
Like in the same house, or she moves away?
No, she's gone, man. I don't even know her. So when my dad dies, my uncle comes and gets me, and he's like, yeah, listen, we're going to, he says at the wake, don't go to bed. Just stay up because I'm going to knock on the door just before the sun comes up. And I live with I'll tell you one story, man. So I slept beneath my father, on a little throw rug. He slept on a sofa in the living room. We were poor, man. You know what I mean? Like he just worked shit fucking jobs at factories, whatever work he could get, working on motorcycles. One time he got a gig driving around disabled seniors, and I was going to preschool, and I was a fucking lunatic, man, like just off the fucking charts troublemaker. So every day he'd have to go in and hear all of the shit that I did, and he'd come out and he'd hit me. So I'm like, what the fuck am I waiting here for? I know it's coming, and I know that lever sticking out of the side of the steering wheel does some shit. So I jumped in the driver's side and I just start yanking on the lever. He left the van running, and I just start going in like fucking bumper cars. I took out a whole fucking block of cars, went through an intersection, 2 accidents, loses that job. So I'm sleeping on the floor.
Oh, it was his work truck.
Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game tape.
Donuts.
If you wanna battle, it's either that you will or you won't.
You're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
Hey, man.
More stories. Mick Betancourt. That's
We came in hot.
Great. I came in hot. Mick Betancourt came in hot with Mick Betancourt. I don't know why I'm doing a bad Boston accent. You're a Chicago guy.
Chicago guy, man.
Hashtag muscle hustle for Mick Betancourt all day, every day.
How crazy was it, man? I woke up and like there were 36 things in the Twitter, you know, and I hadn't put anything out the night before that would warrant such a response. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I'm blown away by the podcast. We're like no barrier to the fans, and they're like reaching out to you. Like, dude, have this cat on your show.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing, man. I couldn't even imagine this when we were kids, being like, I'll tweet at some dude on TV or a sports star, and maybe, you know, you had to write a letter to a clubhouse, and maybe you got a baseball card back. Like,
did you? Yeah, fans were like, why don't you get Mick Betancourt on your podcast? So I said, do you want to do my podcast? And you said, sure. And we've had really great Dean Del Rey, same way. Never met the guy. People said you should have Dean Del Rey on your podcast. But he's been on twice. He's on the radio show all the time, man. And now it's Mick Betancourt from Chicago.
And no barrier with a little Boston seasoning.
I could do Chicago, but it's awful. I'll have to gear up for it. You did you write teams when you were a kid for autographs?
Oh yeah, and I put the baseball card in there and never realizing that the card was never going to come back. You know, I had a Wade Boggs rookie card at Donruss Wade Boggs that was probably the most expensive thing that I owned, and we were shit poor. But that bushy fucking mustache, man, at the hot corner, I had to have it.
He was the chicken man.
Sent it off.
Had fried chicken before every game. Did you know that?
Did he? I knew he had a seat for his wife, and then 3 rows up was for his mistress.
Yeah.
And it was like a known thing. And I'm like, that's a bold fucking move.
I sent my my Santa Claus rookie card, never got it back either.
Yeah, Santa Claus does not return fan mail. It goes to the dead letter office. The thing about writing, first of all, I like that you wrote and sent the card to Wade Boggs, one of the most notorious dicks. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Like, not like you meet Don Mattingly and Joe Torre, like these are like good guys, like Bernie Williams class. You're a Chicago guy, so like Ryan Sandberg, just a good dude. These are good people. Like Wade Boggs, like give me my chicken, where's my beer? I got a flight attendant, I got to grab her ass. You know, I'm the chicken man. I'm Wade Boggs. What is this kid? He kissed home plate on his 3,000th hit as a Devil Ray. Just go out as a Red Sox. They should have just hired him just to get the 3,000th hit. I wrote letters to teams. You know, when you, again, was going what Mick just said, at Mick Betancourt, B-E-T-A-N, Court, Betancourt on Twitter. I wrote, when we were kids, like in 4th, 5th grade in the library, you'd get the almanac, the World Almanac out, and at the back, it had the address to all the teams of every sport. And we would just sit there the entire time and write letters. And the only team that ever sent me anything back, Chicago Bears, your squad.
No shit.
It was like Kramer. Was that a guy?
When were you writing that mid-'80s? That was in the hot
a couple
spot,
months
too.
ago. I'm a little embarrassed about it.
It was last week. Cutler sends you a little card signed with a little squirt of Halston perfume on it to keep it classy.
Don't front on Halston. Ted Danson was the original Halston man. Did you know that?
No, what the fuck? You're like an almanac of these facts. You dropped like 100 already. We only been talking for 3 minutes.
It's fun.
Dude, it's insane.
But yeah, they wrote me back, but like what was weird was like assistant coaches sent like their little photos, so like for like the team,
like a little press, like the 8x10,
the team book, and like they signed it. I'm like, but I kept it like on a shelf. Like, wow, these guys. Bob Greasy wrote me back, quarterback of the Dolphins. Dear JJ, always be a good sport. Bob Greasy.
Oh wow, that's classy.
It was classy. He stayed classy, San Diego. Mick Betancourt, I asked him if he had anything he wanted to plug, and he goes,
"Just a podcast.
Just come see me wherever I do stand up. You'll tweet it if you're doing shows.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Mick Betancourt, or the website's in progress right now, mickbetancourt.com. I just hired a web guy to do
this. This won't be out for like a month. Seriously, this won't be out for like a month.
Oh, it'll be
I'm going to New York, so I'm front loading all the podcasts.
Yeah,
so if anybody wants to see me May 1st, May 2nd, May 3rd, at the American Comedy Company in San Diego, come on down. July 18th, Cincinnati Taft Theater. Do it by the...
And then I'm like, because everyone's like, you're going to go up against Williams. And I'm like, I'm going to like shoot in Vision Quest. I'm like, I'm going to fuck Williams up. My game plan went right out of the window when he looked like a tired, jaded secretary snapping his gum at me, just like...
Did you fill out the blue form?
I was like,
Fill out the blue form. Get back in line. Next, please.
One giant fucking muscle snapping his gum. I shot a double on him, got caught, popped back up, and he looked at me and he shook his finger like with his eyes. Like, really? That's what you
metaphysically finger wagged. The Dikembe Mutombo. No.
He went right in and just fucking shut me down with a look. And then I just got played with like a cat with a little fuzzy fucking.
How long did you go over a minute?
Second period. Just
that's impressive.
I think he got
the
bored.
way you were hyping Joe Williams.
The gum I think lost flavor. It might have been fruit stripe, so it lost a little flavor. And I think it was new peacetime, and he just went right back in and just waved to the fans. Just fucking went back. It was so fucking degrading, man. Holy
was it at
shit.
his school or your school?
No, it was like, you know, when you're going to regionals or sectionals.
Like a tournament.
It's a tourney school. So
it's amazing the weird people you wrestle. The greatest sport. It's the greatest sport in the world. As far as
I couldn't agree more.
If kids get into wrestling, and people ask me on Twitter, if you weren't an actor or a comic, what would you do? Coach wrestling, because I could make champions, and you know you could too, because you know all the things you left out there on the mat.
Yeah.
I would pull kids like on a Tuesday. I would just pick like one kid and say, "Come with me." And we would just go to another part of the gym, and I would just make them vomit.
Yeah.
Just break them.
I just cut 26 pounds. Maybe I was 220, and I'm like, you know, I can't fucking live like this anymore. I know how to cut weight. I might not necessarily know how to cut it healthy, but I just started watching what I'm eating, and then I went in. I'll be 40 on April 14th. I'm just like, fuck it, I'm going to go for it. I only have a little window, maybe 10 more years if I'm lucky, of really being able to hit it hard, you know? So I started doing this boot camp, and I started boxing, and then if I can, I'll do like just adult wrestling, because there's camps now that you can go to and just grapple. Like you sign up, almost like you do smoker fights.
Gay bars.
Well, I don't want to, you know, a couple guys in.
Are there really places to wrestle? Because I've been looking for them my whole life.
Yeah. There's clubs out here. If you type in Greco-Roman Wrestling California, there'll be a whole list of clubs, because it's weird. There's not a lot of grade schools out here, because I want to get my son involved in it. There's nothing, but there's independent clubs. Like, I didn't wrestle for a grade school team. I wrestled for a grade school club. And I had no fucking parents. Like, I lived on my own. I lived with my grandfather, and then he died, and no one claimed me.
Well, let's elaborate on that.
So I lived in this apartment.